Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going deep on something that's both incredibly common and strangely mysterious.
Oh, yeah.
Eye floaters.
Mm-hmm.
You know those little specks or strands or cobwebs?
Yeah.
That sometimes decide to just make a guest appearance in your field of vision?
Right.
We're going to break down what causes them, what the treatment options are, and whether or not you can actually get rid of those pesky things.
Okay.
So ever since my early 20s, thanks to my nearsightedness, I've had front row seats to the floater show.
Oh, wow.
And let me tell you, it's a show that never seems to end.
Yeah.
What about you? What kinds of floaters do you see? Have you had them for a while?
Hey.
Let's compare notes as we dive into this fascinating world.
Yeah, I've had them for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joining us on this deep dive is an expert who will help us unpack the science and the latest on floater treatments.
Right. Thanks for having me. It's always exciting to delve into this topic because, as you said, floaters are something most people experience, but there's still a lot of mystery and intrigue surrounding them.
All right, so let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly are eye floaters? I mean, are they really little bits of something just floating around in our eyeballs?
You know, that's a surprisingly accurate way to put it.
Really?
Essentially, floaters are tiny clumps of collagen that form in the vitreous humor, which is the gel-like substance that fills the inside of your eye.
Okay.
When we're young, this gel is beautifully uniform, like a perfect skincare serum.
Okay.
But as we age, that gel starts to break down,
Oh,
and those collagen fibers can clump together, creating those specks and strands we see as floaters.
okay, that's a great visual.
Yeah,
It's like that expensive serum separating. You can see the little bits floating around.
right.
So it's not that there's something new appearing in our eyes. It's just that the existing stuff is, well, getting a bit clumpy.
Exactly. And we have some incredible visuals from the source material that really bring this to life.
Oh, wow.
There's an actual scan of a fetus's eye at 33 weeks.
Wow.
And you can see how pristine and clear that vitreous gel is.
Wow.
It's really quite remarkable.
Crystal clear.
Yeah,
No floaters in sight there.
not a single floater. But then we have a scan of an 88-year-old eye,
Oh, my God.
and the difference is striking.
Yeah.
You can see significant breakdown and clumping of the collagen that's floaters in action.
Oh, so it's almost like a natural part of aging for most people.
Absolutely. But as you mentioned earlier, nearsightedness can accelerate this process.
Oh, really?
Because your eyeball is elongated, that vitreous gel is stretched out,
Hmm.
putting more stress on those collagen fibers and leading to earlier breakdown in floaters.
Uh-huh. So that explains why I've been seeing them since my early 20s.
Right.
It's like stretching out a rubber band. Eventually it loses its elasticity and starts to fray.
Exactly.
So we've got this gel breaking down and forming floaters. But is that all that's happening back there?
Well, there's another important process called posterior vitreous detachment, or PVD.
Okay, PVD.
This is when the vitreous gel actually starts to separate from the retina, which is the light-sensitive layer at the back of your eye.
So PVD, it sounds a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Could you explain what happens during that process and why it's usually not a cause for concern?
Sure. So as we age, that vitreous gel shrinks and
Sure.
naturally starts to pull away from the retina.
Oh.
It's a bit like the gel is slowly peeling itself off the back of the eyeball.
Okay.
In most cases, it's a harmless process.
Mm-hmm.
You might see some new floaters, maybe even some flashes of light as it happens, but it usually settles down without any issues.
Okay.
However, there are some warning signs to watch out for.
Okay. What kind of warning signs?
Things like a sudden onset of flashing lights,
Okay.
a dramatic increase in the number of floaters you see,
Mm-hmm.
or a darkening of your vision like a curtain being drawn across.
All right.
These could be signs of a retinal tear or detachment, which requires immediate medical attention.
So those are red flags to watch out for.
Yeah.
Got it. But let's get back to those pesky floaters that aren't an emergency.
Okay.
I think I know what everyone's wondering.
Yeah.
Are there ways to get rid of them?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And thankfully, there are a few options, some more invasive than others.
Oh, okay. Let's hear them. I'm ready to say goodbye to my floaters.
Well, the most well-known treatment is a surgical procedure called a vitrectomy.
Okay, so we're talking surgery here.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It involves removing the existing vitreous gel entirely
Wow.
and replacing it with a special solution.
Oh, wow.
Basically, it's like a deep clean for the inside of your eye.
Okay.
They remove the old, potentially clumpy gel and replace it with a clear solution that's designed to maintain the shape of the eye.
Sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
What about the risks of a procedure like that?
Like any surgery, there are risks involved.
Right.
The most common ones are infection, retinal detachment, and cataract formation. However, it's important to emphasize that the percentages are relatively low,
Okay.
and advancements in surgical techniques have made it a much safer procedure than it was in the past.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's not the first choice for treating floaters, unless it's absolutely necessary.
Exactly. Vitrectomy is typically reserved for cases where floaters are severely impacting vision.
Okay.
Or there's another medical reason to remove the vitreous gel.
So what about those of us who aren't ready for surgery?
Right.
Are there less invasive options?
Absolutely. There's a procedure called laser vitreolysis, which is much less invasive than vitrectomy.
Oh, okay. How does that work?
It involves using a laser to target and break up those larger floaters. Think of it as a very precise and controlled way to zap those floaters into smaller, less noticeable pieces.
So instead of removing the gel entirely, they're
Right.
just breaking up the floaters within the existing gel.
Exactly.
Okay. What about the risks with this procedure?
The risks are significantly lower than with vitrectomy. But like any procedure, there's always a chance of complications.
Of course.
However, laser vitreolysis is generally considered a safe and effective option for treating certain types of floaters.
Okay, this is all incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
But I want to pause for a moment and remind our listener that if this conversation has sparked your curiosity about eye floaters and eye health in general, we have a fantastic resource linked in the episode description that you might find helpful.
Right.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Okay.
Now back to our deep dive.
Right.
We've talked about surgery and lasers, but are there any other treatment options out there?
Yeah.
Especially for those who might be looking for something a little less invasive.
There are. Researchers are always exploring new possibilities.
Yeah.
And one area that's generating a lot of excitement is the use of gold nanoparticles.
Gold nanoparticles.
Yeah.
So we're talking about tiny bits of gold being used to treat eye floaters. Tell me more.
It sounds like science fiction,
Yeah.
but it's a real area of research. The idea is to use these nanoparticles to target those collagen clumps and then use low-energy light to vaporize them.
Wow.
It's still in the very early stages, but the potential is there for a treatment that's both incredibly precise and incredibly safe.
Wow, that is exciting.
Yeah.
But while we wait for the future of floater treatment,
Right.
let's talk about some of the options available right now.
Okay.
Is there anything we can do to address floaters without surgery or lasers?
Well, there's been some intriguing research on using, wait for it,
Okay.
pineapple.
Pineapple. The fruit.
Yes.
As in eating pineapple might help with eye floaters?
That's the idea.
Okay. You and my 10.
You and everyone else. So pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain that's been studied for its potential to break down collagen.
Okay.
While it's primarily known for its digestive benefits, a pilot study in 2019 suggested that bromelain might also be able to target those collagen clumps in the vitreous humor.
So eating pineapple could potentially help reduce floaters. I have to admit that's a treatment I could get behind.
It's certainly a more appealing option than surgery, right?
Yeah.
But it's crucial to remember that the research is still preliminary.
Right.
We need larger, more robust studies to confirm its effectiveness.
I understand, but what about the 2022 double-blind study mentioned in the source material?
Yeah.
That one involved a mix of fruit enzymes, including bromelain.
Right.
Did it show any promising results?
It did. That study, which used a combination of bromelain, papain, and phycin found in pineapple, papaya, ginger, and kiwi, showed a significant reduction in floater size and density in participants who took the enzyme blend compared to those who received a placebo.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. It sounds like there's real potential there.
It's definitely an area worth exploring further.
So while more research is needed, the idea of treating eye floaters with fruit enzymes is pretty appealing.
It is.
For our listeners who are dealing with bothersome floaters and curious about natural approaches, it might be worth talking to your doctor about whether these natural remedies, particularly the enzyme blend, might be worth considering.
Yeah.
And don't forget to check out the helpful resources linked in the episode description for more information on eye health and potential treatment options.
Exactly.
All right. We're going to take a quick break,
Okay.
and we'll be right back to continue our deep dive into eye floaters.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so we're back.
You're right.
And we've been talking about like all these different treatments for floaters, some more invasive than others.
Right.
But in the meantime, what about those of us who are just like trying to cope with these little guys?
Yeah.
Any tips for dealing with those like everyday floaters?
Well, one of the most amazing things about the human brain is its ability to adapt.
Yeah.
Often over time, our brains simply learn to filter out those floaters, making them less noticeable.
So it's like our brains are saying, okay, those floaters are just part of the scenery now.
Right.
Let's focus on the important stuff.
That's a great way to put it. It's not that the floaters disappear entirely, but our brains become less sensitive to their presence. It's a remarkable process.
That is good news.
Yeah.
It means even if we can't get rid of them completely, they might not be as bothersome in the long run.
Exactly. It's a natural adaptation process.
I have to admit, though, sometimes it feels like those floaters are taunting me,
Yeah.
especially when I'm trying to focus on something.
I know.
Are there any tricks for minimizing their appearance?
One simple tip is to try moving your eyes around.
Okay.
Shifting your gaze from side to side or up and down can help those floaters move out of your direct line of sight.
Ah, so it's like swishing them away, kind of like swirling a glass of wine to release the aromas.
I love that analogy. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It helps to keep those floaters moving so they don't settle in one spot and become too distracting.
Okay, swirling my eyes it is.
Yeah.
Any other tips?
Making sure you're well hydrated can help.
Okay.
Remember, the vitreous humor is mostly water.
Right.
So staying hydrated helps maintain the overall health of your eyes.
Good old H2O to the rescue.
It is.
It seems like water is the solution to so many things.
It really is. And of course, regular eye exams are crucial for monitoring your overall eye health
Right.
and detecting any potential issues early on.
That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
We should all be prioritizing those checkups.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a much better understanding of eye floaters now.
Good.
But before we wrap up, I want to remind our listeners that if you're interested in learning more about eye health, potential treatments for floaters, or just want to connect with a community of people who understand what it's like to see those little specks and strands, we have a fantastic resource linked in the episode description. It's a great way to dive deeper into this topic and find support.
Okay.
But before you head over there, let's leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
If researchers were able to develop a safe, effective, and non-surgical treatment for eye floaters, would you try it?
Oh, wow.
What factors would influence your decision?
That's
It's something to ponder as we continue to learn more about these mysterious little guys.
a good question.
Right.
Yeah, it really highlights the fact that even though floaters are often considered a benign annoyance,
Right.
they can have a real impact on our quality of life.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see what the future holds for floater treatment.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of eye floaters.
It's been a pleasure joining you on this journey.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
Yeah.
We hope you learned something new and maybe even gained a newfound appreciation for those little specks and strands that dance across our vision.
Right.
Remember, there's always more to explore, and we encourage you to stay curious about your health. And don't forget to check out that link in the episode description for more information on eye health and potential treatment options for floaters. Until next time, keep those eyes healthy and happy.
Okay. Great.
Okay, so I think it's important to emphasize
Okay.
that while we've talked a lot about treatments and potential solutions,
Yeah.
most floaters are harmless
Mm,
and don't necessarily indicate like a serious eye problem.
absolutely. In most cases, floaters are simply a part of the natural aging process of the eye.
Yeah, but of course there are those red flags we talked about earlier that warrant immediate attention.
Right.
It's always best to err on the side of caution when it comes to your vision.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
If you experience any sudden changes in vision, like a sudden increase in floaters,
Okay.
flashes of light, or that curtain-like darkening of vision, it's crucial to see an eye doctor right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those could be signs of a retinal issue that needs prompt treatment.
Right.
So, when in doubt, get it checked out.
Always a good rule of thumb.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of eye floaters.
It's been a pleasure joining you.
We hope you found it informative, insightful, and maybe even a little bit entertaining.
It has been a fascinating discussion.
The pleasure was all ours. And to our listeners, thank you for diving in with us. If this episode sparked your curiosity or you're looking for ways to support your eye health, be sure to check out the helpful resource linked in the episode description. The link is https://amzn.23cpxqbt. Until next time, stay curious and keep those eyes healthy.